Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel where we're diving back into Ikea today. I am sad that I can't actually go through the showroom with you, but I actually figure that this might be a better way internationally that we can embrace the new things that are in for spring and summer 2021. Now, my name is Amanda Weldon. If you are new here and you've never been here before, I would absolutely love if you'd subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss a beat on any video. But without further ado, let's get into this one. Scotty, my partner, and I love changing things up around our loft, and like I said, I always love going into Ikea, especially on a seasonal change, to kind of see what's new and how they're innovating new things. Now, I think innovation is the perfect way to describe this shift from where they've been to where they're going. So Ikea has released their Life at Home 2020 program, and this feels like an internal report for Ikea, but we get to witness it as well. And it's kind of the promises, things that they've observed, things that they want to start thinking about for the future. And a lot of it has to do with a big home reboot. But let's dive into these 10 sections because these are the things that I have been sifting through within their new in section. Now there are over 700 products in their new in section. So obviously we're not going to be going over every single one. And I will note there are some like big furniture pieces as well as the child section that I don't really include because I'm thinking of someone more within my lifestyle. But within all of these, I've selected a few of my favorites from the new in section. So this video doesn't last hours, but if I'm going too fast, I apologize. So for the stylish patio, this is where we're gonna go. And one of the first things that we talk about when we're talking about like a stylish patio is kind of having some of those accessory pieces. So they've entered into this wine glass, but it's actually a transparent plastic. If you're like me, you don't like having too much glass on the patio or down by the pool. Plastic is a way better way to just make sure everyone's safe if you drop one. Also on the patio, they've also added this new blanket. I really like this scalloped look to it, and it just looks like such a simple kind of throw to have out there. They have it in this light blue, gray, as well as dark blue, but I like the light blue because that's definitely added into kind of the top styles this year with colors. These are some of my favorite things that Ikea does, but in the past, it's been kind of troublesome because oftentimes you'd have to plug them in. So there are these lanterns, but now they have these LED solar powered pendant lamps. And they are the white ones. If you want to create a vibe, if you want to create an energy out on your patio, create a stylish feel, these are how you do it. I've seen this also done at weddings before, and it is just simply stunning and bringing in kind of that Japanese inspired look into a Scandinavian styling. It all works so well. We're gonna also talk about how they are mixing those two cultures together a little bit later. Now out on the patio as well, a huge section of this video will be their plants, but planter boxes are also a great way to style your patio, and Ikea does it so well. Something that they did in this image, and the reason why I love looking at their styling is because sometimes they do things that I would have never considered, like using this as a divider on your actual patio. I think that's so brilliant. So back to lighting being one of the main sources of creating a vibe. If you have a small space or you really live within the minimalism kind of lifestyle, what I would suggest is getting something like this, a battery powered or operated light. And this is something that not only could you have out in your patio, but you could also bring inside. If you just want to get outside, get a cozy blanket, read your book out on the patio, but you don't have perfect lighting and you don't have the outlets to suit it, then that is such a perfect solution for that. Now, if you don't really like the column look, they also have this little dome one, and if you are someone who really tries to avoid using batteries, this is also a great solution because this is an LED solar powered light, and it's just this little tiny dome. Seems like it gives off enough light that you could definitely have maybe a romantic dinner on one of their tiny little patio sets and then just put that light in between you so you can actually see what you're doing. Speaking of some of their tables, they have added in quite a few different patio sets, included in that these chairs as well as this table. This one comes in a dark gray and it will only set you back $109, which is a great way to kind of extend your patio usage, and as well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we all get back to having people on our patio and spending time together. Now, this is one of their pieces that you'll see a lot in the kitchen, the hole trap. And it's basically just this mesh basket that you can put different accessories in, but I thought it'd be so cool if out on your patio, you installed that bar, and to get things off the ground, say you don't have the space to have a table out on your patio, you could put that on the wall that's the closest, and there you could keep cutlery, or if you're reading your book, you could put maybe even a glass of water or something like that, and they do have it in many different sizes. So I think one thing that's important when you're sifting through a new section in IKEA is try to think about a different way that you could use that item that they're not necessarily showing you in the catalog. Now we're gonna go to outdoor dining, and we've kind of touched on this a little bit with those glasses at the beginning, but this is whether you're planning a picnic al fresco or waiting to reset your flatware, there's something for everyone. And IKEA has also added in a few new plate pieces, and I like in this image here that they're showing it, the turquoise and the blue together. If that's a color palette that you go for, don't be afraid to mix and match those colors. They're clearly matched together on purpose. Now, this is something I would recommend grabbing if you do get some of the metal chairs or the wooden chairs for outdoors, and that is these cushion covers. The reason why I love these is because they have these little bows on the side, the little ties, and that's when in really bad inclement weather you can kind of bring those inside, or they also have storage solutions that you can just leave them outside just in the bin that is kind of provided to you as well by IKEA. They have a couple of those outdoor storage containers. These specifically I just really loved in the new in section. Maybe this necessarily isn't a outdoor piece or a dining outdoors, but I think that grabbing just a glass patterned plate, one, it adds such a nice romantic feel. It's a little bit more of a vintage feel where I feel like a lot of our styles are going lately, looking back in time to see where we could go in the future with our designs. But I just loved the look of this. Next up, a different type of glass. It is the glass, but it's plastic. And this one maybe is a bit more, everyday use if you're someone who enjoys a beverage al fresco with lemonade or just water. It might be a bit more convenient than a wine glass, especially when you have maybe gustier conditions in the summer. It won't blow over. Something I'd also encourage you to consider is just grabbing a tablecloth. I think that sometimes, and this one is so beautiful, I just really, really love the stitching on this. If I could, I would go and grab this one. Actually, we don't even have a table right now. We're living in this condo space, so I can't wait till the day that we can. But I think that sometimes we get bored of those big furniture pieces, and it's such a shame because they're costly, and we don't want to just continuously be buying new things like that. By just adding a tablecloth or maybe a centerpiece, you can totally refreshen a space and give it new life. Now, these are the tables that I was talking about when I was talking about the outdoor little sets that they have. They also have chairs, and you can get the red or light brown stain or the black and light brown. Already at IKEA, they have the square table like this, and it is so tiny, you guys, and I have seen it out in inclement weather. A friend of mine went and grabbed it, and it can get a little bit beaten up outside in really rainy days and things like that. So I would suggest collapsing this and kind of putting it against your house if you are not using it and you know it's going to be a rough day. But I like that they came out with this longer version of it to invite more people in. So that was our outdoor dining set. There are a ton more dining sets that we will also get into. I was just trying to figure out how I wanted to switch all of this into different categories here. But next up is picnic style. So you'll notice a lot of things that could go outdoor dining or just outdoors. And this is more like new festival collection, everything you need to create magical moods. We're talking glassware, we're talking napkins, candlesticks, and as well, they've got some garlands as well that are new. I don't mention any of those, but there's a lot in the plant section. So going into another glass, because why not? I love this vase so much. It's so beautiful. They've been incorporating a lot of Japanese inspired styles, as I mentioned before, with the Scandi style. So they mix those two words together. And I think that we're so used to having, like I even have right here, in a vase, just big bouquets, but something that has been totally catching my eye anytime I see an article by IKEA or I am looking in Architecture Digest or anything like that. It's those really simple arrangements with kind of sticks or eucalyptus or pussy willow or something like that that I think just really adds a statement without being too overbearing. So I love that they've done that with these wildflowers, just that little bit of wheat, one hydrangea there, and then just a little bit of eucalyptus. I just think it looks so beautiful without being too overbearing in a space and against any colored wall. Just nice and monochromatic, stunning. A couple of trays. They have come out with a couple of new trays. I'm not sure if the next one is next on my list, but this one I found very beautiful, very Parisian looking, just the round look of it with the two handles. I think that if you don't have a tray, this is stunning and it's so great. We have one that I am looking to replace just because it's getting all peeled up. I might be able to refurb it. It wasn't from Ikea, but if I was going to choose one from Ikea, this is my favorite one that I've seen so far because I love the round features of the outsides and as well the fact that it has handles. So if you don't have a tray and you have a small outdoor space, it's always nice to grab one because then you can so easily just get everything that you need, your book, your tea, a croissant there, just bring it outdoors. Sounds like a good time to me. This is basically another version of their tray. It's just an oval feel and a little bit darker as well. So it's really whatever floats your boat. Personally, I really like the circle one the most. So showing you a paper napkin, if I showed you guys all the new things that were like napkins within the new in, this video would take forever, but I really do love this design. I think it's so simple, so neutral. You get a 30 pack for $2, and if you're anything like me and you use these napkins, I always cut them in half because they are so thick and so absorbent that you simply just don't need the full one. So that's something to keep in mind. Ikea as well is the master of outdoor lanterns and tea lights. You can pick both of them up in store or do the online order. And they came out with this new one, this Enrum, and again, it just so great in a little tea light setting, and I think lanterns really set the mood as well. So, and you can find those down where you find all of the plants. They've also come out with some new candles, so unscented candles. I think as we started to really be inside for winter, we started to embrace some of those hygge vibes. I know I have a few videos on this channel as well about that, living well by the Danish way, and these tall candles are very much something that you will find in kind of hygge. So you can bring that as well into spring and summer, no problem. Lighting candles is like our jam. We have so many little candle little holders behind us. So it's nice to know that Ikea also sells these really tall ones and really cute having the purple and yellow, which is great for spring and summer. Another quick look at the napkins. If you are someone who is indecisive and you can't simply choose just one, they also have different new 3-packs with this floral design, which is also really nice. Last but not least, for that kind of picnic vibe, I always love having bits and bobs to just grab and have a little snack, and they have just recently released this new 3-bowl serving tray. And pretty simple. I mean, this is like my favorite part of any picnic setting is just those little bits, whether it be cheese or nuts or anything like that. So having that from Ikea, great. So next up, we've got the practical pieces. This is where you mix in that Japanese and Scandinavian hybrid. I'm already screwing it up. They mix the word together. It's like Japandi? I don't know, put it right here. But basically, it's all about creating your home and turning it into a sanctuary. So this range is going to be, I've got a lot of stuff going on in here, and some of it's for inside, some of it's for outside, but a lot of these pieces, the focus word is harmony and well-being. So let's go to this, shall we? There's this little table lamp, and I just thought that this is just such a calming piece, and I thought it was so cool that they included the actual glass blower in the photos here. Just a very, very simple piece. If you're more into minimalist style, then that could be a cool lamp for you. I think that sometimes when we see these pieces, especially lighting can make all of the difference in a room, but especially when you see a lamp that looks a little bit different like that, you just don't know it'll look good until it's in your space. And just another example of a lantern that not only you could use for outside, but you could also take off that chain and just use it for on your tabletop. And it kind of just creates a little protective barrier for it. And that's another way of kind of reimagining a piece that they already have on their website. These chairs, now I was watching another gal, Kristen, and she is so phenomenal. She does so many IKEA videos, and she's such an inspiration. I will link her video down below as well for spring and summer. You've probably already seen it if you look into these kind of videos, but she was showing us with these chairs, and immediately I was like, stunning, just so simple, so stunning, especially have a little two-top. I don't know if I love it so much with the matching table. Could be a little matching, like little too matchy-matchy with the light as well above it that they isn't new in, but they've had for a long time. But I just love these chairs. I think they are just really beautiful, simple, and they do kind of give off that picnic vibe, which I'm into. So the cool thing with the chair sets too is that you can kind of mix and match them yourself, and say you only need 4, you can just grab 4, you need 6, you can just grab 6. This one, this is a little wall shelf. I just wanted to add it because the more that I'm thinking about the style of my home, the more I'm thinking of like, what can I get off the countertop? I think we've all had those moments where it's totally organized chaos. There's everything on our counters. Our life is just kind of an embodiment of what that looks like. And when I saw this little wall shelf, I was thinking, oh yeah, there are some pieces in there that simply just don't need to be on the counter. So constantly thinking about how we can get those up and off of the counter. This is just a new in piece, furniture piece for IKEA, bringing in a bit of that feminine style with those round corners. And I like the fact that it does have that lip there, just so nothing kind of slides off that table, and just having that extra storage in the bottom. I would warn you though, sometimes having those extra cavities in the bottom can just be an invitation for clutter. So if you're someone who knows that they can keep just their inspirational magazines and things like that below, go for it. Also, this armchair, I feel like this is just a dupe for many different styles that have been floating around the internet. And if you do have a cafe or a workspace, say you're reimagining your office, I think this chair would be just such a beautiful addition to your space. It's so simple, it looks comfortable. You can certainly lean back in the chair, and I love this light green. This green is so in for this season. They also have it in this light brown pink, and then they have a dark gray and as well a blue. So I really, really believe that this chair could just be perfect for any space, especially if you just have like a little corner that needs a little something, or an invitation for you to kind of grab your book or something like that. This is the exact same chair, but if you're thinking, I need a higher back, well, they have got you covered. The exact same thing, a little bit costlier, but of course, because there's that extra added feature in the back. Another look at what I was saying earlier about grabbing a vase, but then also adding flowers. The tough thing is I often try to keep flowers in our house, but they end up dying and it sucks. So this is actually something I would consider, is getting some artificial flowers. This is more of a dogwood in white, which very simple design. You can tell there are only 2 pieces in there, but it looks so beautiful. And also that white vase there, very simple, simple lines, nice and round, very feminine, but I think this is one of my favorite vases from the whole collection, and it is also in white and 17 centimeters. So on to one potted plant that I've included in this section specifically, talking about harmony, and especially that Japanese style, because this specific topiary made me think of that right away. And it is also an artificial plant, so if you're someone who's like, I can't keep plants alive, definitely the way to go. And they have some really good convincing ones at IKEA. I really like the way that they have this right at the entryway. It just makes me think of just, I don't know, it makes me think of something like a courtyard that you would have that. And they even put it on the balcony, because the tough part about balconies is unless you have the perfect facing balcony for light, I mean, our balcony gets absolutely smoked by sun during the summer. So might even consider having some fake plants out there. This is a new lampshade that they just came out with. I love the fact that IKEA is always thinking about kind of taking down that light, giving it a little bit of a diffusion, and really just creating that vibe. And if you have been thinking, how do I change my space? The first thing I want you to look at is the lighting situation. Do you just have harsh overhead lighting? Because if you change that, you could change everything. This lamp as well, I thought it just had such an expensive taste to it, especially if you get that beautiful lampshade. That is the one. I have a couple of lights that I chose a little bit later that I just think look so expensive, and especially for Ikea. An alarm clock. I've been thinking, okay, I should get an alarm clock so that I don't just look at my phone right away in the morning, but I haven't found one I really like the look of. I love the look of this one. It's super retro, radio, speaker. This description says yes, yes, and yes, and of course the clock as well, next to your bed. It's perfect. Oh wow, look at that. 2, play your favorite music via Bluetooth. Okay, sold. I'm 100% going to be getting that alarm clock. I just don't want to look at my phone right in the morning. Looking at a couple of their new features as well, talking tables and transitioned into workspaces. One of the trending design things for 2020 and 2021, it's called the Cloffice. So you open up your closet and it's your office, because everyone has just been trying to reimagine their spaces, and Ikea as well. Within that One Home report, a lot of it is talking about flexible spaces. So for these little dining benches, and they have them in different styles as well, it's just thinking like, okay, how can this be my dining table? How can this be my office table? How can this be like a drawing table? How can I move this around, make this versatile? Those are all very practical pieces. Next up, this is one of my favorite parts, is the layer up cozy accessories and the pop of color that we all need this time of year. Some cushions, we've got some rugs as well. I don't know if I have any rugs in this one specifically, because I didn't see any that grabbed my attention from the new in, but I know Ikea has some great ones that have been there for a long time. They've come out with some new candles. If you guys have been in that plant section down in that little center, the little, I keep forgetting what it's called, a courtyard? I don't know, but they've got some new scented candles. That white one they've got those taller candles. And as well, they've added a new look as well with this little top. Now I know oftentimes I will kind of diverge to just going into the very simple ones, but if you want to add something, I think that one would actually be best for fall. A couple of the cushions they're bringing back as well, so retro, and I love these ones because I could just picture myself grabbing it off the couch and maybe from like reading on the ground with Rosie, our little pup. This one is one that I think adds not only a great style, but also a great texture to a room. And they also came out with this new yellow throw with it, which I also think adds a nice texture. Just that microfiber one, that micro fleece, I think is great for outside. But when it comes to inside throws, I am always thinking about a knit. So adding pops of spring, they have this gray turquoise. They have the off-white, the pale pink, as well as that nice marigold yellow that you guys saw. And as you can tell, your girl's a fan of yellow. Can you see how many tabs I have open? Holy Hannah. Speaking of adding some color as well, look at all of these colors of this pillow. Oh my gosh. They have so many pillow shams for this. So it is the Sinella, and I think that this kind of pillow, such simple lines, looking like it is kind of a crushed velvet, that can add some really nice texture. Fabric to a room. It can soften a room immediately, and I am such a huge fan of pillows. Scott's like, why do we need all these pillows? So this one, the Aina, I would prefer these ones for outdoors. I think these ones, especially with those ties, you could probably match them to the cushion covers that you would add also onto that little banquette that you would put outside, and I just love the fact that you can take those off so easily. The ribbon tie adds that little linen feel, which is also very nice for spring, and it's just perfect. I added this throw, but I think I would still diverge over to the knitted throw specifically, especially because that one only comes into teal, and that's not exactly my style. So, Luftmasse. This is a lampshade that is new in. It's got this nice oval feel, and I think that oval circle feels has a lot to do with that harmony feel. And it does say that that cord is sold separately, so you just want to make sure that you do have a lamp or a light coming down from the ceiling that you can add that to. Over to our balcony furniture. So this is where I put a lot of those chairs and a lot of those shelving units as well. So transforming our outdoor spaces into urban jungles, that has been the focus for this one. Different pots, we've got lush herb, flower, zen zone, this is what this is all about. So over to the shelving unit. This is such a simple shelving unit that when you see it in store, you're probably like, that's nothing really special, but that's kind of the point, is that it's not supposed to grab attention. It's supposed to be super simple, lightweight, very small, and just somewhere where you can store all of those bits and bobs. Like, look at all of these fabulous photos they have set out for us. We don't need no showroom because they have done it for us. That, you know, even in this beautiful shot with that table I've already shown you, you've got that piece right in the back, that Hillis piece, and it just works because it's so simple, and it's great for outdoors as well because it's not going to be affected by weather. One thing I would suggest though is secure it down because that's gonna blow away, especially if you're on a high rise. So this new banquette that they have, just a little nook for you there. This is specifically just that corner piece that you can also add the cushions to, and they also have the straight pieces as well for this very specific sectional for outdoors, and it's just gray. I mean, goes with a lot of people's styles, and you can just choose those flat pieces, the corner piece. If you just want to have the straight pieces together, you don't have a corner, you can 100% do that with that sectional selection. That is new. Now, speaking to just the little tiny balconies or tiny spaces that you want to fill in, make a little bit more inviting, this chair doesn't look like all that, right? Well, take a look at this photo. This is what grabbed my attention a little bit more than just looking at the foldable chair against the wall. It was just showing you how small it can get when you need to move it out of its place. So they've got this yellow color, they also have orange, and they also have beige. But what they have done is they also have your table. So I love the fact that you can have this entire color, little set, a pop of color for summer and spring, and make everything a little bit more neutral, and it's so much more inviting when you actually put the cushion on top. Now this reclining chair reminds me, I don't even know what it reminds me of a retirement center, but it doesn't for some reason, but like that sounds comfortable because it does have the reclining back, and I actually think it looks really pretty. It's nice that it's plastic, that you can wipe it down. And with the reclining back, it also reminds me of when you go to a resort and you've got to throw your towel on something to reserve it. It's great. If you are someone who's like, your girl needs a cushion under her tush, well, you have got some as well. They've got the black colored, and they also have the white, and it says outdoor white because these are meant for outdoors. And that is something that you definitely want to consider when you're making a purchase for patio furniture to create your outdoor sanctuary. These are chairs that I have shown you in this photo that I've shown you a couple times, and you've got that Hillis storage system. You've got that longer table that I showed you just at the beginning, but something that I love about these is that they are stackable. Now, this might be something to consider if you have a little bit more space and you don't need a foldable chair to put them away. The stackable works. It wouldn't be talking about IKEA if we didn't talk about storage. Now, I only included 3 things in here, just 3 things that stuck out to me. There are a lot of other great things, especially in the kitchen, that is new in from IKEA, but these storage blocks I thought were great. They'd be so great for travel as well if that worked out for you. But underneath our bed, I know that we do have some stuff and we use it as storage in our condo space, but it would be so nice just to have it packed away a little bit nicer. And I do like they're actually transparent, these little packing cubes, so you can kind of see what would be in there. Now, this cabinet I think is absolutely brilliant. We've got small spaces. That's why a lot of us go into IKEA, is to find solutions for small spaces, and inside a bathroom specifically where they've showcased this cabinet, it's so tall and they're not wasting any of that space above. Now make sure whenever you are purchasing something like this, you do your measurements, because that would just be the worst if you put a cabinet in your bathroom and you realize that you couldn't stand it up all the way. But I think it's absolutely brilliant to keep all of the things that we need to keep in a bathroom nice and tidy. Now, this storage box is new in $350, give or take $1. And the reason why I think that this is so important for IKEA to now add into their collection is that it's waterproof. It has this really, really well thought of latch, and it's just a little bit more tactical than their existing box that's online. Let me show you that. So this is the storage bench that they currently have, and the reason why I love this, and I actually personally would choose this, is because it can duo as a bench, it's duoing as furniture, as storage, it's got wheels on it, but keeping in mind that it is also something that is not waterproof and something that I will also have to upkeep with the wood year to year, maybe keeping that varnish really nice. But this is something that I could definitely see myself incorporating that style into my patio setting, or even indoors, depends on where you're putting it, into that patio setting. But that's not new in, and what is new in is a bit more of a tactical look at creating that storage outdoors. We are gonna fly through this section. Again, just like the pieces to pull things up off the counter, we are doing plant pot holders, and there are quite a few of these. You can have the single ones, you can have the full ones, and a lot of this goes back into that customizable way that Ikea really fashions their product. Fiddle leaf figs have been such a big style piece, but there are many different types of fiddle leaf figs, and as well magnolia trees have also been a big style piece. They add some height into your design. You don't want all of your design just to be on one level, so adding a little bit of height, this artificial potted plant also does that for you, which is great. If you are someone who has ever considered having a raised bed and you just don't have it, don't know how to make it, and as well you just don't have the space for it, this is the perfect plant stand for you. And another purchase that I would 100% consider, and am considering, because we have needed to get a lot of our plants off the ground because of our new pup. Now this plant stand is nice and neutral. It's got that black bottom, and it just allows you to maybe put plants beside a window where you don't have a shelving unit currently and you can't screw into the walls. This artificial plant I really liked. It's asparagus, which I had no idea. Is that actually what asparagus looks like, the leaves? I don't think so. This looks more like a fern to me. I say that I'll have everyone fooled though, because it looks so leaf-like, plant-like, which I agree. Bringing in a little bit of that Japanese style, we also have this bonsai, and it is a fake bonsai, so no worries. You will be good forevermore. And a plant mister as well is another way to, if you have a really cute plant mister, a lot of plants kind of prefer to be misted than just watered, or keeping humidity in the air, which is so great for spring. But what I would consider is getting a really pretty plant mister like this, because it can duo as a decor piece and a plant mister. And anything that you bring into your life, it's so great if it can be flexible in style and incorporate kind of a couple of different things. We have gotten a little bit bland with our indoor plant style. Bring the color back indoors. Let's not be boring with just green indoors. And then a look at a monstera plant. That is a fake monstera, and ours is real, and it is just growing ginormous. So at least you can get the fashion, the architectural style of this plant, the fullness of this plant, without worrying that it is going to overgrow your space like a monster. We talk about adding a little bit of style and design with our plants into our house by adding height, by adding texture, but you can also have draping plants, which I just think is so whimsical, and that's when you really, really set off a design. And this one is an artificial plant. It's a spiderwort, hanging spiderwort, spider plants probably within the same family, but it's an artificial one, and it just adds a little bit of whimsy to this window, and it being faux as well. You're not gonna have to worry about getting up high and watering it, but it is gonna just add that beautiful flair and a little bit of height to draw your eye up in a space. Ikea also came out with some cute gardening tools. These remind me of tools you'd have in the kitchen, having them on the loop there. But this blue color, this robin's egg blue, they're calling it beige and light turquoise. That has been a very big theme within this spring and summer catalog. Don't forget to look at their pots as well. This is a new pot that they have brought out. You can also add a lot of really nice texture with a new pot. And this one, if you're keeping it super neutral, white, just in your space, lovely. Speaking of pots too, they don't always have to be ceramic. The Ikea plants, they all come in their own pot, obviously. You're not just carrying it out in dirt. going into the parking lot. But a lot of them will be complementary to the pots that they have that are more decorative that you can literally just put inside. So this is one of the examples of that, and it also has a plastic covering to actually protect the seagrass that it is made up of. So again, just texture. Another example of something new that they have recently brought out to add a little bit of flair into your backyard. I like this wire one because specifically if you're doing herbs, some herbs are a little bit more invasive than others. So for example, maybe not a herb, but if you are growing mint, it will absolutely take over a space. So be very careful if you are planting that. But if you have them in their own separate pots hanging outside, you also have the option of just quickly and easily bringing them inside if they're getting a little bit too burnt, like your basil. And if you don't have enough to fill an entire tray, they also have these single ones. And of course, the plants that they sell at Ikea will fit inside of those. They've also just recently added those shears, pruning shears that will match their other gardening tools, just to give you everything that you need. This is another example of adding style and multi-function design. These little herb scissors are so cute, but also very functional. So if you did have them hanging somewhere, they could add a little bit of a decor piece, but also be functional for your space. And everyone needs a watering can. This one I just thought was so cute, new in. It just looks really, really beautiful. Masculine, but feminine with the wood pieces. Bear with me, we only have a couple of things left. This section, I have 5 things, Ikea dupes for expensive taste. We're gonna start off with this mirror. We have this mirror here at home and we love it so much. It's so simple, and also that little lip at the bottom adds a very, very nice kind of shelf as well. Sometimes when I'm taking off my makeup, I'll put my iPad there and I'll just be watching. I believe this came down, this must be a different size because they do have a Stockholm mirror that's $90, $99, somewhere in between there. But I think they just came out with this new size being 60 centimeters across. Another thing that I thought was just so stunning, immediately I couldn't believe that this was from Ikea, but I think that this floor lamp is so stunning. It has a very, very nice design to it, very well thought of, and especially with that brass plating, it just looks so much more expensive than it actually is. Something that can really sink your bank account can be lighting, and it's something that you don't really consider when designing a room if you're not used to designing a room, that lighting can just really rack up the bank account. Now this Vedbo table lamp, nickel plated, you can also get this brass plated to complement the floor lamp that I just showed you. But again, just another piece that looks so much more expensive than it actually is. Finally, if you want something that's a bit more with an Edison bulb look, also have this Isbark table lamp that just came out, and it's just simply that piece. So you will have to purchase that bulb to go on top. But the bulb is sold at Ikea, so don't worry, you don't have to go searching for it too far. Finally, I always love adding gold or brass pieces to make something look a little bit more expensive. And I purchased my set from H&M Home, but I hadn't seen this one at Ikea yet. They finally came out with a gold plated cutlery set, and just this little dining setup looks so expensive and very high end. Last but not least, we are going to go into health and home. A couple of things to consider. Probably one thing we've been thinking about more than ever these past few years has been our air. And Ikea just came out with this air purifier. It's non-intrusive, you can hang it on the wall, you can put it on the ground. They also have filters that you can purchase at Ikea, and it just has a really nice kind of tweed look on the front, and you can get it in black and white. And I think it looks really sleek. It also has these different settings. This is also one of those health and home things. If you have to separate yourself from someone, they have also added in these support screens. Now, this could be a home thing, this could be an office thing, just to create your own cubicle. They also have these in many different sizes that you can purchase just to separate your workspace. Don't know how health and home really works in there, but maybe you just need to separate yourself from someone. Now, ergonomics has also been a top things when it comes to health and home. I was at the chiropractor the other day and he said, who knew that everyone just staying home would be so good for business? And that's because we were just hunched over our computer. So elevating that screen, keeping it at eye level is definitely a great thing to create a healthier workspace for yourself. So that is it. That is all, my good people. If you made it this far, please let me know in the comments below. I'm so curious to hear if you did make it this far. And if you're going to maybe be shopping at Ikea for spring, summer, even if we can only do it via catalog and we cannot go into the showroom. Let me know if anything caught your interest as well. And if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. It only helps me and encourages me to keep doing videos just like this. Also, question for you. So I've done some Ikea ones, but I was thinking of doing as well kind of like a new in H&M home, looking at some designs, maybe even looking at some places where I love to buy artwork and kind of change up all of our frames in here. Let me know if that's something that would interest you. I miss doing tons of home videos, so I'm definitely going to continue to show up with style, lifestyle here, but also continue to reincorporate more home. So I hope you stick around. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.